Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, you asked for it, and we've got the sources lined up. We're doing a full breakdown of the upcoming anime for Rollover and Die. We've looked through the trailers, the production details, cast lists, everything. Our mission today, to figure out exactly why this one feels, well, different, more than just another fantasy show. Because right off the bat, it's billed as an unorthodox Yuri action fantasy that definitely promises suspense, some dark stuff, action, but maybe not in the way you'd expect. It seems less about raw power, maybe more about desperation. We really need to unpack the visuals, the trailer clues, and especially this hero. She's unusual.
Absolutely. We've gone through everything, and the picture emerging is one of betrayal and a pretty unexpected kind of redemption arc. We'll be getting into the plot's darker elements, definitely, and the creative team they've assembled, which is impressive. Plus, the voice cast, it's stacked. Suggests they're taking this seriously. It all points towards that January 2026 premiere. This really looks designed to mess with standard hero tropes.
Yeah, let's dig right into that core idea because it's fascinating. The story starts with Flum Apricot. She's chosen by, like, a god to join a hero's party. Standard stuff, right?
Right. Seems standard. But then it just completely subverts it. Flum is, well, basically useless by the world's standards. The sources are pretty blunt. She's the zero-stat hero. Imagine, like, an RPG world, and your main character has the absolute minimum stats. Strength, magic, agility, all rock bottom. She technically qualifies, but she has no real power. Her only unique thing is this skill called reversal, but early on, she can't really control it or even understand it properly.
So it's not just, oh, she's a bit weak. It's fundamental. She's in a hero party but can't contribute in the expected way.
Exactly. It immediately changes the focus. It's not about how strong is she, it's how the heck does she even survive?
And this is where it gets really interesting and pretty dark. The world thinks she's worthless, okay? But the worst part comes from inside her own party. Her party mate, Janintej, who is super gifted, apparently doesn't just bully her, he actively betrays her.
And it's not a simple see ya later kind of betrayal either.
No, he sells her into actual slavery.
Right. And that is the catalyst. It's a really bold, tonal move, you know? It grabs your attention. We're talking about some serious trauma here, designed to strip away basically any hope she might have left. It pushes Flum into this absolutely horrific choice. Take a cursed sword that seems to promise only doom later on, or get thrown to monsters, literally used as bait.
Grim.
Totally grim. And the sources suggest that the moment she refuses both, when she decides to fight back, somehow that's the key. That's her transformation. That's when reversal finally starts to show its real power.
Okay, so we have this intense trauma, this forced change, and that specific label, unorthodox Yuri auction fantasy. How do those pieces fit together? The betrayal sparks it, but what does reversal do? And where does the Yuri aspect come in?
Well, that seems to be the critical link, doesn't it? If she's got zero stats, her strength can't be the usual kind. The betrayal by Jean, the sort of traditional male hero figure, it forces her to look completely outside that system. The sources hint that reversal isn't about boosting stats. It's more like it flips things. It invokes negative states, maybe turns extreme despair or vulnerability into some kind of overwhelming, unconventional power. And that seems to be where the Yuri element becomes crucial, not just for romance, but for the action and themes. Flum's journey after the betrayal seems focused on building these really intense, life-changing bonds with other women who are also probably outside the mainstream power structure that discarded her.
Ah, okay, so the reversal power might actually feed off those emotional connections.
It seems likely, yeah. Turning that zero-stat weakness, that vulnerability, into strength through these relationships, it makes her fight for survival really personal, relational, not just about swinging a sword harder.
That definitely reframes it. It's much deeper than just a revenge plot. So you, the listener, get to watch someone figure out strength completely on her own terms, finding hope with others who've maybe also been pushed aside. And we know you'll get the chance to see it. Crunchyroll is confirmed to stream it globally next year.
So yeah, a story this dark and emotionally complex, it needs the right hands guiding it.
Absolutely. Who did the sources say is actually making this thing? The creative team must be pretty carefully chosen.
Oh, definitely. It looks like a really distinguished group. The director is Nobuhara Kamanaka. He's known for putting real artistry into his work. It's not just about the action beats, it's about the mood, the feeling.
Okay, Kamanaka.
And the studio.
Animation is by A.C.G.T.
That pairing suggests they're aiming for something visually distinct, maybe a bit stylized, not your generic fantasy look. And handling the overall story, the series composition, is Mariko Kunasawa. Now, this is interesting. Kunasawa is known for Ascendance of a Bookworm.
Wait, bookworm, that's quite different. A gentle slice of life isekai versus this dark yuri action thing. What does that tell us?
I think it tells us they're prioritizing the internal journey. Kurosawa is brilliant at adapting stories where the main character achieves things through, sheer willpower, cleverness, and mastering weirdly specific skills, not just fighting. Bookworm is all about intellectual grit, right? Applying that kind of focus here suggests they'll really lean into Flum's psychological state, her emotional strength, how she overcomes things internally. That fits the zero stat idea perfectly.
That makes a lot of sense. It explains why maybe they'd need such a detailed approach to character design, too. The sources listed 4 people: Miki Matsumoto, Fumiya Matsumoto, Takashi Fukuyo, and Takafumi Furusawa. 4 designers.
Yeah, that usually points to complexity. When a character's emotional state is so central, especially Flum's, going through trauma and transformation, you might have specialists. Maybe one person focuses on the before look, the hero party. Another nails Flum's look during and after slavery, showing the scars, literally and figuratively. Then others handle the supporting cast, the monsters.
Ensuring every emotional shift really hits visually. Okay, makes sense.
Exactly. It's about maximizing that visual storytelling.
All right, let's shift gears to the sound. Music's crucial for a dark action fantasy. Needs to drive things, but also capture that internal struggle. Ryo Takahashi is handling the music, and the theme songs look promising.
They really do. The opening is Liberator by PassCode, if you know their stuff, like
Yeah.
the SHY Season 2 opening.
Oh yeah, intense, electronic, heavy sound.
Right. It screams high energy, maybe even chaos. Suggests a pretty frantic opening sequence, probably reflecting Flum's initial desperation. It's going to be a jolt.
Okay, so high energy opening. But then they balance it with the ending theme, I Need, by Yuki Tanaka. That placement feels deliberate, doesn't it?
Absolutely deliberate. The OP gets you hyped for the action, the ED lets you breathe and feel, an ending called I Need, right after all that likely intensity. It's clearly meant to draw you into Flum's inner world. Your need for connection, maybe for redemption, maybe just survival. It backs up that complex, introspective angle Kurosawa brings to the writing.
Okay, music sounds spot on. Now, the voices, this is where you really see the investment, I think.
It's a seriously impressive cast list. Let's hit the core conflict first. Flum Apricot herself is voiced by Ayaka Nanase. She's got the chops for these emotionally deep roles.
And the guy who ruins her life, Jean and Ludo.
Makoto Yasumura. A great choice. He can bring that necessary weight and cunning to the betrayer role. You need to believe his charisma and his cruelty.
And looking down the list, wow. Miku Ito as Milkit, Machiko as Sarah Envelin, Aya Endo as Maria Effenjones. It just keeps going. Takaya Kuroda, Misaki Kunaro.
Yeah, we can't list everyone, but the sheer number of well-known, talented voice actors tells you something. It says every character, every interaction Flum has is meant to be significant. Especially important if her strength comes from these unconventional bonds, right? Every relationship matters.
And then there's the final piece, the voice guiding you, the listener, through this whole dark tale. And it's an icon.
It really is. The narrator is Kikuko Inui.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. I mean, for anyone who knows anime, Inui's voice is legendary, often very gentle, almost regal, maybe even motherly, even when narrating darker stuff.
So why her for this story? A story about betrayal, slavery, zero stats? It seems like an odd fit on the surface.
That's the fascinating question, isn't it? It completely changes the potential tone.
Yeah, instead of just gritty and grim, it could feel more like a dark fairy tale being told, with this sort of calm authority over the harsh events.
Exactly. It's a huge production choice. It signals confidence. They're not shying away from the darkness, but maybe framing it differently, as part of an epic, maybe necessary journey, not just suffering for suffering's sake.
It's like narrative insurance. You trust the voice telling the story, even when things get really tough.
Precisely. It ensures the audience stays with the story. The quality of this whole cast, from Nanase as the lead right up to a new narrating, it confirms they are taking the emotional weight, the psychological depth of this story very seriously.
Okay, that was a fantastic deep dive. Let's pull it all together. We've got Roll Over and Die hitting screens in January 2026. The core is this zero-stat hero, Flum Apricot, betrayed, sold into slavery, but finds power, real power, through this reversal skill, likely tied to deep emotional bonds, hence the Yuri aspect.
And backed by a really solid team. Kamanaka for the art and mood, Kurosawa ensuring that internal journey has depth, A.C.G.T animating it.
Plus that killer soundtrack approach and the absolutely stacked voice cast, capped off by Kikuko Inui as narrator. It screams quality and careful handling of dark themes.
And connecting it to the bigger picture, this series seems poised to really challenge some fantasy norms. Making a hero with zero stats rely on trauma
Yeah.
and these marginalized bonds for strength, it forces you to ask different questions about heroism. Is strength what you're born with? Or is it about the choices you make when everything's against you? It's a much more complex take on courage and redemption.
Absolutely. It shifts the whole focus. So here's something to think about. Flum's journey turns on rejecting a cursed fate and fighting back. Her power seems tied to reversing despair through these deep, maybe affectionate bonds with other women. What kind of power do you think ultimately gets unleashed when that kind of profound despair flips into unbreakable affection? That feels like the core mystery we'll be watching unfold next January.